Catch up on previous parts by clicking the playlist, linked in the description. Iana claimed to be merely a moldering villainess who conducted evil deeds in secret. She threatened to show her true powers, but this was all a bluff. All she could do was lean into her villainous image. She didn't have any secret powers. Feeling unfazed, Amaryllis sliced off some of her hair. She believed Iana's threats would only make her blood worth more. Before she could land her next attack, the Duchess was stopped by shots from the hydrangea unit. Yamato would then handle things from here. Relieved, Iana fell to her knees, asking how they found this place. Yamato explained it was Konoha who guided them after sensing an unsettling energy from the conservatory. Iana wondered how her sister did this, because her saint powers shouldn't have awakened. With one strike, Yamato would take down the Duchess and arrest her under suspicion of kidnapping and injuring beautiful women. After they evacuated the basement, Shino approached Iana, but she'd immediately yell at him to go get treated, or he might not be able to use his hand. She scolded him for being reckless when saving them, but he argued it was actually her who did the saving. He wouldn't forgive Iana's past crimes, but he admitted her actions this time saved so many beauties, and his little sister was one of them, so he told her to be proud of that. One of his comrades then dragged him off to get treated. While the other nobles saw Iana, they immediately accused her of being the culprit. Then, they praised Konoha for saving the beauties and told her to stay away from the villainess. To Iana's surprise, Konoha and Jennifer didn't suspect her at all. Jennifer then informed Sol that Iana was safe. Upon seeing Sol, she thought her life was over, thinking he would never actually worry about her. After all, that was what got her past self all fired up. Sol was cold to everyone, and only sweet to the one he loved. In the prologue, when Konoha smiled at him, he admitted she was the only one who could throw his heart into disarray. She liked that fluffy feeling of being told she was different from all other women. For Sol, who was created with the belief that the one he loved reigned supreme, all of Iana's actions since the party began would only lead him to suspect her. So, she thought this was her end. Following that, everyone saw Amaryllis being escorted out in chains. She had lost her ideal paradise and was now a mere shadow of her former beauty. The nobles couldn't believe that she could actually be the culprit. The Duchess suddenly stopped moving and made a request, asking to have one last sip of wine. It's not like she could escape, so she asked the soldiers to bring the bottle from the very back of the basement wine cellar, saying, "I'd like to go after reveling in its beautiful flavor." Hearing this, Iana quickly recognized that line. She knew the captured Duchess had long ago made up her mind. If the worst should happen, she would fall beautifully by her own hand. At this moment, Amaryllis was trying to die. Iana would rush in and knock the glass away, asking the Duchess if she planned to go while still covered in her sin. She demanded the Duchess to wash off her filth before having a beautiful end. The Duchess's slaves rushed in to attack Iana, but Sol would swiftly knock them unconscious. Suddenly, he confessed to Iana, saying, "You're the only one who can throw my heart into disarray like this." That was the same line he should have told Konoha. Yamato was then informed that the wine was poisoned. This case was an embarrassment to the royal family, so he wanted to make everything clear before anything got covered up. The next day, the case of the kidnapped beauties that occurred at the Amaryllis ducal residence was declared solved, thanks to Konoha's efforts to lead the police to the basement. Iana was also questioned by the police, but Shino let them know that he had acted together with her, and there was no connection between her and the Duchess. Minoa also let the police know that if Iana was the culprit, she wouldn't have been kidnapped, and that she would have defeated Iana instead. Then, she quickly left after to demand compensation. Iana was shocked that Jennifer kept his promise about keeping the earring a secret. He didn't see the need to tell the police, said she had done nothing to feel guilty about it. Thanks to the three of them, she was cleared of suspicion and allowed to go home. However, on the carriage, Iana could sense incredible rage behind her. Seeing her sister tremble coldly, Konoha asked her what was wrong. Iana robotically answered it was nothing. She couldn't help but wonder if Sol's motivation switch had been triggered. As he extended his hand to help her down from the carriage, she could sense that his rage hadn't quieted one bit. In consideration of Konoha's fatigue, they traveled home at a leisurely pace. Before Iana knew it, 3 days had passed since the incident. When Sol approached her, she tried to get away by helping one of the maids carry a sack, but it was much heavier than she expected. Sol told her that this was work for servants, and carried the sack away. She was left frozen, wondering what could have made him so angry. Returning home, Yomi happily welcomed Iana back with a warm hug, letting her know that his cough had healed. He could tell that she was tired, but she didn't want to mention the incident with the Duchess yet. As Jennifer approached them, they'd suddenly hear Konoha screaming. Rushing to her room, they saw the place in shambles. Sol then met up with them, telling Konoha that he had found one parcel with missing contents, and it just happened to have contained an ornament Konoha received from Jennifer. It was also the same item Iana had been carrying earlier, which made her get a bad feeling about this. Even the servants started suspected she might have stolen the ornament. She would run out of the room to find the ornament, so that she could avoid Sol's suspicions. She dodged every death flag so far. She wasn't about to let this thief get past her. She approached the gardener first, asking if he'd seen anyone suspicious. Startled by her presence, he mistook her for the giant monkey that just passed through. Hearing a strange laughter, she turned around and found a piece of sackcloth. She followed it, and suddenly came across large footprints. The gardener then ran to Sol, informing him about what Iana was doing. As Sol chased after her, Yomi would stop him, asking him to make Konoha find the ornament, since it belonged to her. Whether lost or stolen, he said Konoha should have been more careful. Regardless, Sol simply turned and continued his chase. Meanwhile, Iana felt the reason she was uneasy, even though she had done nothing wrong, was that she was worried about how others saw her. She created Konoha's characters in middle school the way she did because of the portraits they drew in class. Throughout elementary school, her image of herself, based on her own ideas, were 100% realized. She saw herself as a lively girl. But in middle school, because of a wretched portrait assignment, she first learned of how people saw her. When she thought about the way people saw her, weird and perhaps homely, her hands trembled. Trying to glorify herself, she started sweating and couldn't sit still anymore. Afterwards, she'd create a story where her ideal appearance was stylized, whereas her real self was oddly realistic. Whenever she finished the drawing, she'd sigh. Since being reincarnated as Iana, she'd done nothing bad, but thought self-evaluations were unreliable. That's why Iana had to keep working hard to make sure she didn't die from any misunderstandings. She finally caught sight of the monkey and thought it was quite big. She assumed it broke in the moment Konoha left and likely stole the package that seemed the heaviest, thinking it had the most inside. So, she decided to capture it quickly and get everything back. As she ran towards it with her pitchfork, Sol showed up at that moment to stop her, letting her know that creature wasn't actually a monkey. The creature then attacked her with a magic blast, but Sol grabbed Iana's pitchfork and threw it at the monster, defeating it quickly. Sol then informed her that there was evidence of a monster egg that had hatched recently. He found paint on the broken shell, and speculated that a merchant might have touched it up to sell. That wasn't something a normal person could notice. While he was out of the business now, a long time ago, Sol used to do things like this for assassinations. Hearing this, Iana asked if someone was after her sister, but he couldn't tell for sure. He then asked if she was aware of how dangerous the situation was. She tried to explain, but she was at a loss for words. Sol complained that she was always doing things without telling anyone, and that there was a part of her he didn't understand. Just like the incident with Amaryllis, he asked why she didn't rely on others when she noticed something. He felt she could have told him he was obeying her orders to watch over Konoha, but that was only because she assured him that she'd be safe. As Sol rambled on, Iana thought he was worried about her, and that's why he was probably angry. He told her that this was a warning, and she concluded that he could never be worried about her. Rather, her actions tended to cause problems for her sister, and she assumed his warning meant he'd kill her. Regardless, she promised to be careful next time. Upon finding them, Konoha informed her sister that Shino had arrived, and they needed to come quickly. As they gathered in the room, Shino told them that Amaryllis had killed herself. The motive was unclear. After Iana had stopped the Duchess from poisoning herself, she didn't show any intentions she'd try again. Shino then apologized to Iana for failing to protect the life she saved. The Duchess was always supposed to poison herself at the manor house. By rewriting the story, Iana thought she had changed her fate too, but it was all being corrected silently. Thinking about everyone, she realized if this was the power of her story, then no matter how much she changed it, she couldn't relax. Unbeknownst to them, there was a shadow behind the scenes who had orchestrated the Duchess's death and even planted the monster egg. The future he saw was meant to be vastly more interesting, and he questioned if the one who created this chaos was Konoha or Iana. There's only 3 more episodes until this series ends. Who's the mysterious villain in the shadows? Will it be another handsome male character? Probably. Subscribe to keep up with next week's part. But for now, watch this next video. It's me, ComfyTea. I'll see you all in the next one.